Back in January, I set off to drive the entire coast of mainland Scotland whilst living in my van. And whilst this journey's been incredible, life doesn't just pause around it. From exploring this stretch of the coastline to juggling everything else going on behind the scenes, this is what it really looks like. Well, good morning folks, and it is another glorious day. Honestly, can't believe the weather I've been getting recently. It's been fantastic. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's pretty chilly, there's a little bit of frost on the ground first thing in the morning, but I'll take these cold, blue sky days any day of the week over it being slightly warmer, but pissing rain all the time. Now, for those of you that have been following this series weekly as I travel around the entire coast of mainland Scotland, you'll know that I left off at this location here in the previous episode at the Cock and Bull restaurant and bar just north of Aberdeen. Got myself a burger and chips last night, and they let you park here overnight. It's really good, there's loads of space here. It's perfect for larger vehicles, especially motorhomes and things like that, because there is so much space here in their parking. So I definitely recommend it. It's a nice little stop and it's free to park. Just go in and get some food. But what we're going to do for this episode is just head further up the coast towards Peterhead. And for this next section, I'm just going to follow the main road rather than the coastal road to Newborough, because I've been invited to Ellen Castle and Gardens. I've never been before, so that was an offer that I simply couldn't refuse. So that's my first stop today, just inland slightly to Ellen Castle and Gardens, and then I'll go down and rejoin the coastal route and head towards Cruden Bay. Well folks, I've made it to Ellen Castle and Gardens this morning. I did say when I kicked off this episode I was really excited to be here, and Alison's met me. Alison, thank you so much for...
Lovely to have you here.
No, honestly, it's an absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
And you know, when you contacted me, I was like, it's only open at the weekends, I'm never going to make it. And you're like, no, please come along, we'll open the gates for you. So it was an offer that I just, you know, I could not refuse. And I'm really looking forward to learning a little bit more about the castle. But these gardens, just as soon as you walk in here, look absolutely incredible. And those trees, honestly, I can't wait to show you. But Alison's going to take us around, tell us a little bit more about it as well. So let's go on a wee adventure. From above, Ellen Castle and its gardens feel like a quiet escape. Tree-lined paths, open green space, and the remains of a castle that stood here for centuries. But like a lot of places along this journey, there's more to it than what you see at first glance. And to really understand it, you need to hear from the people helping to bring it back to life. Right, so Alison, just tell us a little bit about yourself first. What got you involved, how long you've been sort of volunteering here for, and obviously the trust as well, how long they've been looking after the castle and gardens.
Yeah, so the gardens were gifted to the people of Ellen in 2015, and the trust was set up to look after the gardens and to open them up to the public for everyone to enjoy. So I've been a trustee since 2019, and it's just an absolute pleasure to be involved and to be looking after this place for the community. It's just wonderful. Yeah,
no, absolutely brilliant. And so how did you actually get involved in it then?
Well, when I moved to Ellen in 2018, I was looking for a way to meet people and get involved and give something back to the community. And this just was perfect. You know, it's beautiful, the birds are singing, it's getting outdoors. Yeah. It's just a lovely place to be and great people to work with.
And how many volunteers are there, you know, in the trust then, off the top of your head?
Well, we have a whole range of volunteers, so probably about 50 or 60 volunteers in total.
Brilliant.
So we have 7 trustees that look after the management of the gardens, the kind of the business side, the development of the charity, looking after all the funding applications. And then we have the gardening volunteers, which do an amazing job making the place just look so beautiful.
We're standing here now next to this tree here, and I feel like I'm in Lord of the Rings. I feel like I'm in the middle of the Battle of the Ents or something like that, you know, for a way to start speaking. I mean,
it's very
can you
special.
just tell us about these trees? And I'll just film some of them in particular as well. I mean, it's just incredible.
So these trees, we think, are between 500 and 800 years old. It's very difficult to date yew trees because the way they age, they actually become hollow inside, so it's impossible to count the rings. So unless you have a record of when they were planted, which unfortunately we don't, there's really no way of telling their exact age. You can make some estimates based on the measurement of the circumference of the trunk, but that really is just an estimate. But they're just so wonderful. So much wildlife in here. The red squirrels love running around in them.
They do.
So many little birds. It's just really something very special and very unusual to have so many ancient yew trees in the middle of a walled garden. So it's really quite unique.
I know, it is. I had no idea they didn't have tree rings.
Yeah, they start getting quite hollow, and you can see some of the branches even are hollowing out.
Right, okay.
It's just the way yew trees age. And they also, they're very stable, very, very long-lived. And one of the reasons that they're so long-lived is their branches grow down to the ground, and then that stabilises them. So when the branches touch the ground, they put down roots.
And that's why...
And you can see here we have a lot of these branches touching the ground and putting down roots. So it makes them very stable. So they're not really susceptible to storm damage in the way some other trees are. And that's also why they say that yew trees can walk across a landscape. So once these branches put down roots, they're progressing across the landscape, and that will become new trees. Even if the original tree dies, there'll be a new one sprouting from the branches along here, and then it'll just keep progressing across over hundreds and thousands of years. They can travel across a landscape.
That's fascinating. Now let's just show our viewers just scale how big this tree actually is. I mean, it's pretty big. Oh, you can see that's all
hollowing out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Still absolutely solid though, aren't they?
Oh yeah, absolutely solid, yeah. And some of them, they begin to split a little bit as they age, but you know, they're putting down roots in other places, so it makes them very stable.
Wow.
And
God, you can imagine the squirrels just running.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
they love it. We'll probably see some
big,
today.
huge playground. Hopefully, that would be nice.
Yeah. A good while ago, the people that owned the gardens thought it was a good idea to fill in the holes, because you know they were worried about the trees are rotting from the inside. So they put cement in to block up the holes, which is really not necessary. The trees have been managing quite fine for centuries. But you can still see some bits of cement blocking up some of the holes.
Yeah, part of this road trip, I think they did that at Balmerino Abbey. There's an old ancient chestnut.
Right, okay.
And they've actually got basically lampposts holding up the branches and stuff like that. But I think they've actually filled some of them in with cement as well to keep it there. It's particularly old as well.
That one, see these branches here where these would have been cut off. See, that and that and that.
So
it's all...
Oh, that's been filled in.
So that's not what you'd really want to be doing these days. That's long ago that was done.
Yeah. God, look at all that.
The more you look, the more you see, like all of that.
It's frog spawn.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Superb.
So we've also got sticklebacks in here.
You're not the dad, are you?
So there's
lovely.
Yeah, so this will all come away with irises and things once the summer comes.
Now, what is this?
So this is our A-listed sundial. So
sundial?
From, I think early 1700s.
Wow.
And it's very ornate. It was in a pretty poor state when the Trust took on the gardens, so we've had it restored through a grant. And yeah, it's just beautiful.
It really
so
is.
when the sun's shining on it, because we're still only in March, the sun needs to get a bit higher to get past the yew trees. But
Yep.
yeah, it's you can tell the time from all angles.
Amazing.
Jeez, that oyster catcher's noisy. So there's only 2 sundials of this style known. The other one is at Pitmeaden Garden, just along the road. So we suspect that the same person was probably involved in creating both sundials, but there's no record of, who created it.
Wow. Yeah, that is incredible. I've never seen a sundial like that.
Yeah.
Definitely not. This is just mad.
I'm glad you think so.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. It's my favourite part of the gardens.
That is an oyster catcher.
Yeah.
You're not going to find any oysters here, pal.
No.
I mean, this is the thing as well, Alison. It's March. I know this isn't going to go out till much later, so folks, obviously I said it wasn't open during the week. It will be by the time this episode goes out. It'll be open 6 days a week. But can you just imagine what these gardens must look like in summer?
Yeah.
I mean, we're in March and you're already seeing that green coming through, and it's just so vibrant anyway. These trees are just, I've never seen like as many trees all sort of grouped together in the one place that have such a unique sort of look to them, obviously with them being yew trees. And it's just incredible.
Yeah, it's absolutely magical. Yeah, we're so lucky to be able to share them with the public as well.
Yeah, definitely. And we're just coming up to the garden house here, aren't we? As well, but that's closed.
Yeah, so it's a fairly unstable building at the moment. We're currently applying for funding to restore it inside. So it used to be a 2-storey building, but it's currently just an empty shell. It's got a leaking roof, it's very damp inside, and really not in good condition.
Yeah.
But it's a B-listed building, so it is an important part of the garden's history. So hopefully in the next year or so we'll be able to get enough funding to put windows back in, put in the second floor again, and create a little visitor centre in the bottom to help share the history of the gardens and all the people who've been involved in it through its history.
That would be good. That would be good. So during the season as well, how much is it for someone to come in to the gardens and visit and have a look at the building itself and stuff?
So just for a visit, it's £5 for an adult, and children always come in free as long as they're accompanied by an adult.
That's excellent. That really is excellent. I mean, I've already been to a number of different sort of castle ruins and things like that, and I know they are slightly different in terms of, that historical aspect to them, and you can wander among the ruins and things like that. I understand it's a bit different, but that's really cheap. £5, they're usually around about £8.50 to £10 there or thereabouts. And I suppose this is one of the things as well. If you can turn this into a sort of visitor centre, then you have other opportunities as well. You can maybe have a little coffee machine in there. And,
that's on the plan. Yeah, absolutely.
Like a little food and beverage department and things like that, or even seating out here. People can enjoy a coffee. So there's revenue to be made that way. But no,
absolutely.
That's brilliant to hear, because it makes it really affordable for people if they are travelling up and they've got family, especially with kids. So
and that's what we want. We really just want people to come in and enjoy the place. It belongs to the community, so we really just want everyone to come in, have a nice time.
Brilliant. And for people that are local as well, is there a membership option and things like that as well?
So we have a lot of people that come regularly, a lot of visitors that come every weekend. They bring their dogs for a walk around, and so membership is even more economical. So we have different categories of membership for adults and seniors and things.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So at the moment this is the only route up to the castle. Unfortunately we don't have disabled access up onto the terrace. But that's something that we are looking for funding for, so that people can come in actually from the back gate at the back of the castle to get up to the terrace, see the castle and the rose garden.
I love how it's kind of been reclaimed by nature here.
It is, yeah. That ivy's really beginning to take over.
Yeah. Oh, there's still that. almost like a coat of arms up there, isn't there?
Yeah, so that's the Kennedy coat of arms.
Kennedy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they were one of the first families involved in the site here. So I think that stone dates from 1635.
And that's when, do you think that's when this was kind of built then? Or
There have been a lot of phases of development and redevelopment of the castle. So yeah, initially early 17th century,
yeah.
but there were various extensions put on over the years, 17th, 18th century modifications. So yeah, once we get our visitor centre, it'll be a great way of explaining all the different phases.
I love this view back down over the wall opposite as well.
Yeah. Nice roses. So
yeah. So will this be in bloom in the summer then?
Yeah, it will. Yeah,
So
yeah. A couple of months, it'll be amazing.
Big, huge rose garden.
We've got
I can't imagine
the climbers
what that
going
must look
over,
like.
and
yeah,
it blooms for months and months.
Wow.
And the scent as well is just really something special.
Yeah. Right, so in the gardens as well, I believe you were saying earlier you had apple trees.
Yeah, we have this wonderful collection of really old heritage apple trees, and you can see them all around the walls.
Oh, that's them on the wall?
Yeah, so
wait, can I have a closer look at these? They usually look like that.
Yeah, well, it's a technique called espalier, so it means you can grow them up against a wall, and they're very carefully pruned by our team of gardening volunteers. So you can see they're just lovely shapes to look at, and they produce a lot of apples.
Fantastic! It looks amazing. It really does. They almost look vine-like.
Yeah,
you know?
that's right.
That's what it looks like, but it's almost like a work of art as well. And what do you do with the apples? Are you going to be selling apple juice in the visitor centre when it opens?
Yeah, well, we've got a few things. So we have an apple day on the first Sunday of October.
Yeah.
And we sell all these wonderful different heritage varieties. So these are apples that you wouldn't get in the supermarket because they're quite old varieties, and they're not designed for supermarket use. So in a supermarket they get kind of bashed around. So heritage apples, you can't do that. They bruise quite easily, so you've got to be quite careful with them. So that means you would never find them in a supermarket. So it's only places like old gardens that you find these heritage apples that have been carefully handled. You can come along on an apple day, buy these old varieties, all the different flavours. So yeah, so we do that.
And cider.
And cider, yes. Cider is very popular. So we work with the Wee Scottish Cider Company. They're based at Mary Cooter. And they take our excess apples and make them into a cider, which then goes through the champagne method to produce a lovely, bubbly, light apple flavoured drink. And it's just delicious, chilled on a sunny day.
Oh, brilliant. Well, Alison, thank you so much for having me. Honestly, what an absolute pleasure. We're walking out through the yew trees again, and yeah, I mean, I think they're definitely my highlight. The trees,
my favourite too.
I mean, unbelievable. But I'm kind of biased in a sense because when this place is in bloom and you've got all the rose garden and all the other flowers in bloom, I mean, it'll just be absolutely sensational.
Yeah,
but thanks so much for having me and for inviting me along. Honestly, absolute pleasure. Thanks very much again. Cheers.
Great, thanks, David.
Well, how amazing was that? And Alison, just before I left, it was off camera, she said, "Do you like cider?" And yeah, of course I like cider. And that she actually had a bottle of the cider that she was talking about in the fridge there. And it's kind of like she said, it's been made in a similar way that would make Prosecco, for example. There's quite a lot of pressure in it. I'm going to have to keep this for a special occasion, and it's from their apples made by the Wee Scottish Cider Company. I think it's actually won a cider award. I'm gonna keep it for a special occasion though. And obviously, being a Honeyman, it's my last name, and the Honeyman name comes from the wee town where I grew up called Cooper in Fife, and they were beekeepers in the 14th century, and she gave me a jar of the Ellen Castle Gardens honey made by the bees, the hives there. absolutely lovely. But Alison was great, and it was just such an amazing experience. I didn't really know what to expect before coming here today. And because I was meeting Alison, I didn't really do an awful lot of reading up about it beforehand. And I'm so glad I came and made a stop here, because the gardens are spectacular. Even now in March, in season, they will be off the charts. It will just be fantastic. All the workers, the volunteers that work there have done such a good job of it. Honestly, hats off to you all. I'm going to stick these away and head a little bit further up the coast now. That I saw, it was my friend Chris Paul Lawler did a reel about it, and it's called the Forvie Sands Nature Reserve. It's just up the coast. Okay, so there's absolutely no way I'm getting in there. There is no way that is 2.3 metres. Absolutely no chance. Right, so I've managed to find a little car park, kind of the other side of the Newborough Inn. Anyway, I'm gonna take a walk down the road and hopefully see these seals.
Look ahead, the sea is calm, and I know we've been through a lot, but just wait. Wait for better days to come, carry us like wind in our sails. Hold on tight, I can smell the shore, it's right in front of us if we just...
Never seen so many seals. Wow. Look at them all. There's loads of them, it goes right round. I'm going to try and zoom in on my phone. I'll be able to zoom in further on that. Right, let's try and zoom in on this. Look at all those seals. There's so many! Well, I'm glad I took that little walk in to see them. I didn't realise there was going to be quite that many. That's definitely the most seals I've ever seen in a single place ever. You used to see them a lot sitting on the Tay when the tide's out, and you see the sandbanks in Dundee. Well, from either side, Dundee, Newport, Wormit, whatever side of the Tay bridges you're on, you can usually see them sitting out on the sandbanks there. But not that many. That was awesome. So now on to Forvie Sands, just across that estuary there. Well, I mean, what is the point in that? Honestly, there's a sign with like no lorries. But I mean, you can't even get a decent sized van in there like this. Or anything. What is the point? But I've parked here, which is meant to be a place for sort of buses or whatever. Or I imagine longer vehicles, but there's only space for like two. It's not great. I mean, this car park's totally separate here, and you could reverse up over the curbs, just take up one space, but you've got the bollards in front, so you can't get in. I just don't understand. Don't get it. Right, so I'm gonna have to take my jacket off. I'm roasting. I've arrived at the Kirk. I can't believe this is actually the top of the building. What was here before. Just see myself in the camera here. I look like I'm getting sunburn from today with this wind and the bright sun. It wouldn't surprise me. I'm definitely going a bit pink. But yeah, I'm at the Kirk now. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this place. Set among the dunes at Forvie are the remains of St Adamnan's Kirk, all that's left of a village that once stood here. The settlement of Forvie dates back to at least the 12th century, with the Kirk built to serve a small farming and fishing community that lived along this stretch of coast. But in the early 15th century, most notably around 1413, a series of violent storms began to overwhelm the area. Blowing sand inland, they gradually buried the village beneath the dunes, forcing the people who lived here to abandon it. Today, only the Kirk remains, the last visible trace of a community lost to the shifting sands. Right, when you're here and you're walking towards the beaches, the bays, you are kind of wondering when you're going to get to them. Because these dunes just seem to go on forever. It's incredible. Oh wow, look at that. Look at that beach away up there now. Those dunes, that sand looks incredible. I'm definitely going there. Up this way. They just look, it looks almost desert-like. Wowee. Don't know what that is. It's a lot more modern. World War II kind of battery or something maybe? Don't actually know. Yeah, don't know. Could be though. Right, no, it's not. I've seen a sign here. It was the Rock End Salmon Bothy. It was a salmon fishing station, now lies half buried, even in the early 1990s, long after sand had crept up its walls. This was still a working site. Unbelievable. Oh God, love that. Now we're coming up to some of the bigger dunes now. Walking out onto Forvie Sands, I genuinely didn't expect the dunes to be this big. They stretch for miles, rising and falling along the coastline in a way that almost feels untouched. And when you look closer, you start to notice the detail, the wind that's carved patterns into the sand, like ripples across water, frozen in time. It's the kind of place you can just wander and get completely lost in, but just maybe not quite as lost as the wee village that used to be here. Yeah, well, that was great. what a lovely day for it. It's some walk, you know. I mean, there is like a sort of circular walk that you can do. It takes around about 2.5 hours. Apparently I just did sort of half of it to the Kirk, going in a clockwise direction, and then went to that sort of first beach. But it's beach all the way along the coast. The expanse of it is quite incredible. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, it was for me, at a decent brisk pace, it was half an hour to get to the Kirk through the sandy dunes, and then you're another 10 minutes or so to get to the beach. So you're parking and walking 40 minutes through dunes to get to the beach. That's how big these dunes are. It is incredible. Really loved it. But if you're watching this and you have a big camper van or motorhome or whatever, I don't know where you can park, because once again they had those bollards up. There was like a spot for buses, so I took one of them, and I've taken a liberty there by doing that because it's March, it's out of season, there's not that many people in the car park anyway, and I thought, I'm in and out, but I have taken a bit of a liberty there. But I don't know what else I'm meant to do when you've got those bollards and stuff up. It's a bit of a pain, and for me, I don't know, I just don't feel it's the most welcoming message to have all these bollards up and basically just have enough room for cars to fit in. I don't know, I just don't know if that's just me because I'm a van lifer and maybe a bit biased, I don't know, but it's not great. But so the message is really, if you're in a motorhome or whatever and you're watching this, I don't know where you're going to park, especially during season. There won't be anywhere, not here anyway. Sorry to be a bit of a bummer. Maybe someone watching this that's more local that can leave in a comment and I'll pin it to where larger vehicles can park to come here and enjoy this nature reserve. It is a bit of a shame really, but nevertheless, absolutely love my time here. Once I get back to the van, I'm going to head up the coast just a touch to a park up that I've used on a number of occasions at Cruden Bay Harbour. It's really handy, honesty-based system, £10 to park for the night, and I need to top up my water tank, and they have a tap there that I can use, which is great, and it's not too far up the coast, which is great because it is getting on a bit now. And once I get back, I'll need to organise all my footage and everything I've done today, but I do have also around about 8 hours of editing to do tonight. It's Friday and I haven't actually finished editing the episode, which is going out, a previous one to this, going out on Sunday. So I'm struggling a bit. I usually like to have it done a few days in advance, but I've just been so busy filming this week, and yeah, I just haven't had a chance really to edit so much. I think I've edited maybe 4 or 5 hours worth, but it's going to be at least a 12-hour edit, this one. So I've got about 8 hours ahead of me. So if I get to bed about midnight, then I've got a 4:30 alarm tomorrow, because the weather's going to be like this again tomorrow. It's certainly forecast to be anyway, and there's somewhere special that I really want to go for sunrise and take you with me. So and then I've got a busy day after that as well planned for the rest of this episode. So I hope you stick with me and join me, and remember, if you are enjoying what you're watching, please remember to like, leave a comment, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you at Cruden Bay. It's not a bad view out of the van, is it? Well, good morning, folks. Remember I said that I had around about, 8 hours left for editing? Well, one sec. I grossly underestimated how much I actually had left to do. And I ended up until just after 5 o'clock this morning, editing and trying to get this Sunday's episode uploaded. Oh my god, it took all night. So yesterday was a 24-hour stint. And unfortunately, I woke up about half an hour ago. It's 10 past 11 in the morning. And it's only uploaded 17% of it. So the download speed here is okay, but it's upload speed I need for obviously uploading 4K footage to YouTube, and this particular episode is over an hour and 20 minutes long. So yeah, I might have to move to try and get a better signal elsewhere, and this is a problem I'm going to encounter more and more as I go further north in the coming months. I mean, don't get me wrong, my router does fine. It works great, and download speeds are absolutely fine. I'm getting like 80 meg download here, which is great, but it's the upload speeds that are the challenge. So I need to see how I get on, but I might have to move, unfortunately, which is a nightmare because I'm shattered. I'm not doing anything today. I'm not doing any filming today. I've basically been filming this week. This would have been my 6th day of filming, 12 hours a day. You're watching this episode, but if you've watched the last 2 episodes, so 3 weeks worth, they've all been filmed in the course of the last week. I've just had to pummel the filming because, I'm on this road trip and doing the entire coast of mainland Scotland, but I've still got other things that I need to attend and do as well. So I've got a wedding in Glasgow next week. So I have to leave here from Peterhead, go down to Dundee to my storage unit, pick up my kilt and all that kind of stuff for my wedding attire. And then I'm going to go through and see, I've not seen my girlfriend for over a month on this road trip. And she lives near Glasgow, so I'm going to go and spend a week with her. Obviously go to this wedding together, and then I'll need to drive back up to basically here to carry on, and then all the way along the Murray coast and all that. So I'm having to come back and forward, and I was having a conversation with someone outside here last night at the harbour, because I've got my group adventures in the Isle of Arran at weekends on the end of April, end of May and end of June. And this is originally why I wanted this to last 3 months, so I would have all of this done beforehand. So I'm going to have to drive back down to Troon and obviously host these group adventures for that weekend, and then unfortunately, at the end of April, I've not got a chance to go back way up north and carry on filming because on the 8th of May, I've got a golf trip with my friends from school in Spain for 5 days. So, so I can't go up there, film for 2 days, drive all the way back down. I'm just going to have to wait until I get back. And then I've got another Arran trip at the end of May, on the 30th and 31st, so I'm only going to get a week or so filming. So this is why I'm trying to film. Some weeks I'll film like 2 or 3 episodes in a week, So it's only taken me 1 week to film, but I've got 3 weeks worth going out because I need to get ahead of where I am to try and account for all these things. But this week's this has been the most intense week without a doubt, and I've loved it. Don't get me wrong; I'm not complaining in any way, shape, or form. It's been amazing, and I've had such great weather, which helps. Helps you get through it when the sun's shining. And today would have been great because it's another beautiful day outside. But like when I went to bed was when my alarm was initially set for to get up for sunrise. Oh goodness me! So yeah, I'm not going to be doing much today at all. Enjoying this coffee, and when this episode returns, I'll likely look different. My hair might be a bit shorter. My beard might be a bit shorter because I'll be continuing this episode after I've driven back down to Glasgow for a week and gone to a friend's wedding and then come back up the road again. So if I do look different, that's why. Don't pull me for continuity. So I really don't want to move from here, so I've got my laptop bag and I'm going to go up onto the cliffs up above and see if I can get a better signal. This might work. Fingers crossed. That's just gone up 1% in like a minute, which is ideal. Perfect. Right, let's see how much this is downloaded now since I've been there. Oh, it's up to 51. It was 47 when I went to go and get these. Happy days. Well, there was a bit of wait for hot food, but I saw the cakes and oh, it's like a doorstop. Look at that. Carrot and orange cake. Oh, no! Oh well. 3-second rule, 1 minute rule. Don't know what your rule is, but mine is it's getting gubbed regardless. That's the breakfast of champions right there. Let's taste the coffee. Oh, that's nice. What a wee cappuccino. Lovely. Well, I'm glad to say it has finally uploaded. It's gone through all its checks. We are good to go. I'm just going to relax now, put the football on, and that'll be me for the night. And then over this next week I'm going to be back down the road, going to my mate's wedding, come back up and start again from here. And that's where this episode will continue from. So I'll see you then. Well folks, I'm back at Cruden Bay. Like I said, the wedding was absolutely amazing. Honestly, what a day, superb, and congratulations again to Mark and Claire. I know Mark watches these episodes every week with his son Oren, and yeah, we all had a great day, mate. Congratulations again. On my way back out here, I did pass by my storage unit in Dundee because I did order a couple of things. If you remember back a few episodes ago when my leisure batteries were dying, I had to change them and things like that. And I was talking about, will I get, shore power, for hook-up electric and stuff at campsites, because the battery is now double the size of what my previous one was. It's 628 amp hours, this lithium LifePo battery. But I got loads of great suggestions from you in your comments with regards to what I could do rather than, taking all this out and getting the installation away and trying to, actually get a permanent plug-in. So I decided to get one of these, one of the Eurohike mobile mains power extensions, essentially. And what it is your row of plugs, a 15 metre cable, and then your shore power connection. And I think rather than a permanent solution, I'll just run that cable into here through maybe the rubber seals, so I can still close the doors. I think that cable's thin enough to be able to do that. And what I also got was just a standard extension, but a normal UK plug, which could come in handy. And a really cool thing is this. So this is an EV plug point where you would charge your electric vehicles and stuff like that. And I'll be able to use that by plugging into the EV, using that extension cable and then connecting it to my charger. And the charger I got was this one off Amazon. So all this stuff, loads of it, just like usual. I've got my Amazon storefront link in my description to all my videos. And if you go to that link, it'll then give you two options. You'll have filming equipment list, and then you'll have Vanlife Essentials list. So all these things have been added to the Vanlife Essentials one now. It's really windy today, I'm gonna have to stand on that. But it's a 40 amp charger, so that's actually faster than the Victron split charge that I have there, the DC to DC. That's only a 30 amp that I use to charge those batteries. So when I've got this plugged in, it should charge it fairly quickly. And it's got a built-in fan and all that to try and keep it cool, etc. as well, which is handy. So I think what I'll do is I'll install that somewhere in the back at some point when I go to use it, basically. And this will permanently sit there. And then it's just a case of plugging it into one of those plugs and then hooking that up to either the EV power or the shore power at like a campsite or whatever. But being able to use it with the EV charging stations is superb. I didn't even know you could do that, but that's great, because then that means I won't necessarily have to book myself into a campsite just for the sake of it if I need to give my batteries a really good charge. The dark nights and that have passed now, but certainly for next year anyway, this is going to come in really handy, and I will use it. It's just going to come in really, really handy, and that EV charging especially. So I'm really glad I got that, because what I did get was a new power station by a company called Forvie. It's going to replace my Bluetti power station. I've given my Bluetti power station to my girlfriend for her van build. She's just at the point now where she'll be able to sort of get away in it. So I've given her my Bluetti. I've got the Forvie now, and what I like about it is all the USB options that you've got here. It's perfect for me charging all my things, and then obviously you've got your standard plugs as well. But one of the things I did get, which it does actually work with the Bluetti as well. I've tested it, which is great. The one thing I've really struggled with, and you've heard me talking about it in episodes, is charging the Bluetti with the cigarette lighter. If I use my power station for charging all my cameras and all that kind of stuff, and especially if I use it from a boiler to get a shower, to heat my water, it takes a lot of the battery. I prefer to use that rather than my lithium LifePo batteries for that. It sometimes trips because the boiler's got such a large pull from the back. I don't know if the cable going to the boiler's maybe not quite thick enough or whatever. But rather than replacing that, I use my power station, and it's fine. It doesn't trip, and it'll heat the boiler absolutely fine, but it does use a lot of power. It takes ages for these to charge up with a cigarette lighter. But what I did was I managed to get myself one of these, and it's their DC to DC charger. So I've connected all that to my battery under there, and now that is charging and putting in around about 500 watts of power. So it came out the box at like 38%. It's only got 81 minutes left, it's at 68%. Now, if you've tried to charge one of these with a cigarette lighter, you'll know how long it takes to go from like 50% on a 2,400 watt power station. You're probably looking at around about 10 hours with the cigarette lighter. This is going to be 2.5. So it's so much quicker. But it also means that I've now connected two DC to DC chargers to my battery, and therefore my alternator. So the way I'm managing it, rather than running my Victron DC to DC charger for my leisure batteries and that at the same time, I'm turning off the charging on the Victron system if this needs charged. So I'm only charging this one, and then when this one's fully charged, I'll stop charging with that and then turn on the Victron DC to DC charger for my leisure batteries on the app. So I'm not using both at once and putting the alternator under even more stress. I mean, I did get a new alternator about a year ago. It's a good one, a Bosch high capacity one, which is kind of essential if you're going to be connecting DC to DC chargers to them as well. But I'm just going to run them one at a time. I'm not going to. I know I could run two, but I'm just not going to do it. And especially now that I've got the EV charging capability and shore power charging capability, there is absolutely no need for me to be running them both at the same time. But yeah, really happy with this so far. So, and I got the solar panels to go with it as well, of course, which are going to come in really handy now as we go into spring and then into summer. Anyway, it is a beautiful day today. Storm Dave was last night. It was pretty choppy here, and it's still a little bit windy, but it's a lovely lovely bright day. That'll give you an idea of how far ahead I am actually filming these. It gives me time to edit them. But it's a lovely day out there. But today for me is just, I'm gonna clean up inside the cab and check my tyres. I'm gonna give them a bit of an inflation with my Wolf Box, which is my jumper, but it also acts as a tyre inflator as well. I'm going to check my oil level, my coolant, my screen wash is already full anyway. Just do some standard checks before I take on this sort of next stage of the journey. And yeah, and then I'm going to do some editing for the rest of the day. So that'll be me for the day. But tomorrow morning we're going somewhere very special, and the forecast looks fantastic. Up early for sunrise, so it's a 4 a.m. alarm. So I'll see you all there. Perched on the cliffs above Cruden Bay, the ruins of Slains Castle are hard to miss. The original castle on this site dates back to the 16th century, but the building you see today was largely constructed in the late 1500s by the powerful Earls of Errol. Over time it was expanded into a grand residence, less of a fortress and more of a statement overlooking the North Sea. For centuries, Slains was home to the Hay family, playing its part in the shifting power struggles of Scotland's past. But like many coastal castles, its story didn't last forever. By the early 20th century, the castle had been abandoned and much of it stripped for materials, leaving behind the ruins that stand here today. But Slains Castle wasn't just a home, it became a place of status, where notable guests were entertained, drawn here by its setting and the influence of the Hay family. And among those visitors in the late 1800s was Bram Stoker, the author of Dracula. Looking at it now, it's not hard to see why people draw the connection. The isolated setting, the sheer drop to the sea below, and the dark, imposing silhouette of the castle itself. There are even details within the ruins, like the remains of a distinctive octagonal room that some believe mirror parts of the castle described in the novel. Whether it directly inspired Dracula or not, it's easy to imagine how a place like this could leave its mark. Right, let's go and check it out inside. It's one of the things I love about ruins like this. You can just walk freely among them. I've not been here for a wee while. It's really cool. The last time I came here it was really, really muddy and wet, and it can be pretty horrible when it's like that. I mean, it's really dry at the moment and it's still a little bit boggy. And it's so much bigger than you realise. I mean, it looks pretty big when you actually see it for the first time when you're walking along from either side, either from its dedicated car park or from Cruden Bay. But when you're walking among it, you've realised just how big it is. Must have been some place in its prime. Oh. Look at that. Not a bad view, is it? Not a bad view at all. Yeah, it's really cool. And it's really early at the moment. Well, sunrise was just 6:30 there. The clocks have gone forward now for spring. They've sprung forward. It wasn't too early a start, but I did plan on getting here an hour and a half or so before to get a full sunrise, but I couldn't get out of my bed. I never got to sleep till about midnight. So I got up about 5:30 and just got cracking. Got myself along here. Oh, that's a nice bit of the design there, isn't it? Sticks out. It's just the views you get here. I mean, wow. Right out the front. It is absolutely gorgeous. What a day. And don't let that big bright thing fool you. It is absolutely Baltic. I mean, freezing cold. But it's such a cool castle. And to think that Bram Stoker was once a guest here, which is why, I mean, there's countless castles that claim to be Dracula's castle and all that kind of stuff, or a story linked to it. And this is just another one of many. You know, he was a guest here and he went on to write one of the most famous horror stories of all time. Was there some of his inspiration? Did it come from this building? Who knows? But that's its claim to fame. And I like to think it did have something to do with it. But I'm Scottish, so I'm biased. Oh man, look at the views. Oh, it's just stunning. It really is. What a way to start the day. And the good thing now is as well, I'm going to be heading back further along, just slightly further along the coast. You can actually do this entire cliff walk. So from Cruden Bay, you can walk here, you can walk to the Bullers of Buchan, and that's where I'm actually going to be going next. But I'm going to be driving it and stopping at the car parks as I go. But you can do a full cliff walk along here, which, if you had the time, would be awesome. It really would. But that is my next stop, the Bullers of Buchan. Let's go. Well, what an amazing spot this is. And there's birds everywhere. Look at that. Wow. Look at those cliffs. The geology is insane. Look at like the shapes of the rocks in that. And then this sort of sea cave, if you like. Oh my God, it is gorgeous. Loads of birds as well. Oh, it's just awesome. I could stay here for hours just listening to them. I don't see any puffins. Now, I do believe that they are here. Now, this is basically the start of April. This is actually Easter Monday. I'm filming this. I have heard the puffins were back here, but I was also told I'll be very lucky to see them in the morning because they'll go out to sea to obviously hunt and eat. And then you're more likely to see them later on in the day when they're coming back. So yeah, I don't think I can't see any anyway at the moment, but anyone watching this now, it'll be packed with puffins in May, June and July. What a great spot. And in one of my previous episodes, I think it was episode 11, I went to Crotton Waterfall, which was near the Fellsview Cliffs, just south of Aberdeen. And that'll be packed with puffins right now as well. And that waterfall is just absolutely beautiful. If you go there after it's been raining, it would look spectacular. But this is a beautiful spot. I honestly just cannot get over this vista, this view. Right, cue the dramatic drone shots. Absolutely spectacular. Honestly, I could stay here for hours. What an absolute joy this is. And I'm loving my cliff walks this morning. We started off with that incredible castle. We've come to these cliffs now as well. I've just checked Google Maps and there's more cliffs further up. It's called Longhaven Cliffs Nature Reserve. So I'm gonna head along there. Again, it's just another parking sort of spot a bit further up and then a short walk to the cliffs and go and check them out as well. I didn't have it in my plans, but it's such a beautiful morning. It's the perfect day to get out, stretch the legs and take in some incredible scenes that I've never had the pleasure to enjoy before. And I'm glad I get to take you with me as well. What an absolutely incredible location. These cliffs along this stretch of coastline are just amazing. And the fact that you could basically walk it, you could make a day of it, just coming here and doing the coastal trails. It's absolutely superb. I would love to do it one day, and I reckon I probably will at some point. My original plan was to end this episode in Peterhead, which is just a few miles away really, but I'm going to kick off next week's episode in Peterhead instead. So I hope you've enjoyed watching. If you have, please remember to like, leave a comment, and please subscribe if you've enjoyed what you've seen. It'll really help me grow my channel, and it'll help YouTube recognise this video as one that they should show to more and more people. And thanks very much again to everyone that's contributed to my Buy Me a Coffee page, although I call it Buy Me a Guinness. It is greatly appreciated, and all of it goes back into the creation of this content which you get to watch. So I'm really glad to have you along with me week to week. I just absolutely love sharing my journey with you all and showcasing the best of wherever I go, really. Have a great week. I'll see you next Sunday. Cheers. Like and subscribe for more van life adventures.